Hi, welcome back to Blue Mountain Bushcraft and Outdoors. Today I've got a piece of emergency preparedness kit that I think you guys might be interested. Stay tuned. So yesterday morning while I was at the gym, I was on the treadmill and they have all sorts of televisions on, and one of them was one of the news channels, and it was showing a variety of tornadoes sweeping across the Midwest, Oklahoma, Colorado. Some of those people are getting hit pretty hard. And it got me to thinking that I have this stove here that I have been needing to review for quite some time. And this stove is perfect for that type of a scenario. And what I have for you today is Silverfire Survivor Rocket Stove. Now, if you guys remember a while ago, I reviewed one of their gasifier stoves, the Silverfire Scout. It is a compact, lightweight camping stove that is easy to put in a backpack. This rocket stove is not one of those. This is something a little different. This is for at the house, this is for the cabin, in the back of a vehicle. Not something you're going to want to tote around. This is it. It's big, it's heavy, and it is extremely capable. Let me move the camera around so you can get a better look at this thing, and I'll show you some of the features and we'll fire it up. Okay guys, so like I said, this is the Silverfire Survivor Rocket Stove, and just for a quick point of reference, you can see how big it is in comparison to their Scout. The Rocket Stove is a pretty heavy duty piece of equipment. This thing weighs all of 12 pounds. It's made out of stainless steel, sheet metal, and the cooktop here is cast iron. So this thing is built heavy, it's built to last. And the build quality on it is excellent. See, you've got two handles here that you attach after you get the stove, and they have some standoff from the stove. And they do that because as this thing's going, of course, it's heating up. The sides will get pretty hot. And should you have to move this for whatever reason, these handles are gonna stay cool. So all you gotta do is reach under, grab your handles, and you can move the stove while it's still pretty hot to the touch. Okay, so the top of the stove here is all cast iron, and you've got 5 supports here for pots of various sizes. This is designed for large-scale cooking, for boiling large quantities of water. So you can put a fair amount of weight on top of this, but it doesn't mean you can't put some smaller stuff on, and I'll show you that here in a couple of minutes. So let's skip down to the bottom of the stove here, and you should be able to see that it is completely vented. There is a separate piece of the stove down here that does not come in direct contact with the burn chamber. So whatever you put the stove on, you're not going to have any danger of catching your surface on fire. So you can put it, like I have it, on top of a picnic table here. That's not going to be a problem. It'll get warm, obviously, but it's not going to scorch the table. I've burnt this stove on this very spot on a couple of different occasions, and there's no damage to the wood. Let's take a look at the heart of the stove here. You've got the door into the combustion chamber. That flips up, and you'll see you've got a rectangular feed opening here and a fuel tray that stores inside the stove. Fuel tray is solid sheet metal. It's got a tab that locks into a corresponding slot and gives you a place to lay your fuel. The feed tray extends all the way inside, and in the back of the chamber there, I think you can see those slots. It is completely vented. So this thing works exceptionally well. Take the feed tray off a moment here, and you can see you've got a chamber underneath here that's completely open that runs underneath those slots, and that provides for a ton of air moving through here. So this thing burns extremely hot and very efficiently. I'll give you another view of the bottom of the stove there, and you can see that the chimney is cylindrical. The one thing I do want to note about the stainless steel door here, you see this tab here, and it's got Silverfire's little signature flame symbol cut into it. And you can do a couple of things with this. Number one, it just kind of looks cool. Number two, it gives you a spot where you can hook something in there and open the door up if you need to. And lastly, this actual opening here acts as a fuel gauge. So in order to run this stove efficiently, you don't need anything bigger than the size of this opening. So if you've got some fuel and it'll fit in there, you're good to go. You don't have to use anything bigger. So in order to use the stove, all you need is twigs, sticks, things you can harvest dead off of trees, off the ground, depending on how dry it is. Stuff like this. That's all you have to run this stove. Now obviously, you can use larger pieces of wood, but you don't have to. So let's get this thing fired up. I had my run this morning, and I haven't eaten breakfast, and I'm pretty hungry, and I need coffee. Okay, so all your principles of fire making still apply here. There's no shortcuts. You got to start small, build the fire up. That's exactly what we're doing. Once that fuel in the chimney drops down a little bit, I'm going to stoke this up with some larger wood, and we'll get cooking. Okay, she's going pretty good now. What should we have first, coffee or eggs? I think I'm going to vote for coffee. Let's get the fire. Let's get some water boiling. Now, like I said, this thing is designed to boil large quantities of water. Hence, that's why you've got that great big cast iron piece up at the top, the grill top. We'll be using that for the cast iron pan that I'm going to use to cook in. But how about if we just use my regular old canteen cup, and I can show you some of the extremes of what this thing is able to achieve. You can see how efficiently that's burning. You get flames shooting up on all sides of the canteen cup. And so far, really all I've used is a couple of small pieces of cedar that I use here in the yard when I'm playing with knives, and mostly sticks and twigs like this that I literally just picked up off of the ground this morning. Okay, so when you're feeding this, the door should be closed as it's burning. You can just reach underneath there and just find something to push the fuel in, get it inside that burn chamber a little deeper. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to burn out here. And if you just leave it go, it'll eventually just completely burn out. Push your fuel back in there once in a while. Feed it. You can use bigger stuff like this, but you don't have to. Just close the door. Ooh, you can see how hot that gets. That's ridiculous. Sorry, it's not a feral woodcraft creation, but it's still pretty good. Okay guys, so I had to give this a little bit of time to cool down and be able to show you just what's left over after it's fully burned. And I think you'll be impressed with the efficiency of this model. It does pretty well. After you're all finished, that's what's left. I'll show you from the top too. Nothing but some white ash. I'll dump it out and let you see it. That's all that's left. It's real fine ash. There's really nothing to clean up. Just dump it out and you're done. Okay guys, so what are my final thoughts on this model? I'll tell you what, like everything else that I've seen from Silverfire, the design is first rate. The build quality is absolutely fantastic. It uses tremendous materials. And it's just a very well designed, well thought out piece of kit. Now, like I said, this isn't a backpacking item. This is something you're gonna keep in a cabin, you're gonna keep in your house for an emergency when the power goes out, or maybe you're part of a disaster relief effort. You're going in to help people. You throw this thing in the back of your car, your truck, whatever, and you've got a way to sterilize water, you've got a way to cook food, and its fuel consumption and needs is very minimal. It really doesn't take much at all. Twigs off of trees, you could split up 2x4s from a destroyed building. Whatever you can get your hands on, this thing's gonna burn it, and it's gonna give you a source of potable water and cooked food. And that's what this thing's all about. So, I don't think you can go wrong picking one of these up. Even if you never use it, stick it in your preparedness kit at your house, and you're ready for most anything. If the power goes out, or you just want to come out back with the kids and have some fun and burn some stuff, it's good for that too. But it's an excellent piece of gear, and I highly recommend it. I'll put all the links down below for Silverfire and where you can find them. It'll have more detailed specifications and descriptions and all that there as well. But you see, it's just a fantastically made piece of kit, and I strongly endorse it. All right, guys, if you like the video, do me a favor, click the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. Helps me know that you're enjoying these videos. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I know my content's been a little slow lately, but I'm trying my hardest to pick up the pace. It's been just a hectic, busy time of year. But until the next time, guys, thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.